If a person was frozen from 2000 and woke up in 2020, what would shock them the most? If they were old enough, the job market. Everything requires more experience, a degree or higher one, and might pay as much. Combined with the rise in living expenses. Put me back under. LGBTQ+, technology, COVID, his friends that weren't frozen and are now older. What would shock them the most? That Donald Trump was president. No World Trade Center, Donald Trump was president for a while, Robin Williams killed himself, NFL games are played in empty stadiums, and the guys who made The Matrix are both women now. Wait, what about the Matrix brothers? They're both trans females now. The untimely decline in style supremacy of juicy couture, but what will they do with all of their velour tracksuits that say juicy on the butt? Little kids are getting congratulated to do inappropriate dances and stuff. Like whatever that movie is about, an 11-year-old girl figuring out her sexuality. It's something. Obviously a global pandemic, but also technology like touchscreen phones. Also the popularity and earning potential of YouTube has changed dramatically. Fashion is also a big one, would be rather different now. Also, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, etc. most large websites today didn't exist, and Google wasn't even that well known at that point. At that time everyone still had different search engines they used and liked. Ask Jeeves, Dogpile R2. I can remember the decline of the internet from the golden era to what is now basically 5 social media companies. Also Adobe Flash is about to die. The Thor. The what? The Thor. That trick still isn't gonna give you up. Boris F. Johnston is PM. Instant gratification. The ability to buy anything online and have it delivered on your doorstep next day, or in some areas a few hours later. Shopping in general. The home shopping network was big back then. As a woman who was 10 in 2000, the acceptance of larger-than-rail-thin women in society, the lack of large belt buckles and low-rise jeans, what Aaron Carter looks like now, also that nobody wears much jeans anymore and Sears is non-existent. Was never a fan of Aaron Carter, but he seems to be a typical example of a child star getting used and suffering from the consequences of it. Frown. I know it's really sad. Tenyomi had a huge crush on him, lol, as did many young girls at that time. If you had shown Tenyomi a picture of him at this age, then to put it in perspective of things, show them a picture of myself, I feel like Tenyomi would be like, wow, you're both old, 30 plus, but I feel like he is like grandpa. It's sad people can have everything anyone could want at their fingertips and yet not have any guidance / be left with an abundance of greedy adults to assist you with your wealth and career. So sad. That you didn't have to pay for music or steal it anymore. Free music somehow became legal. If it's free it still has ads. Basically the same thing as the radio, but you get to pick the songs. Assuming they have them. Still pretty cool though. Computer programs can learn games through self-play and easily beat the best human in the world at said game. Smartphones. 2000 was barely flip phone level of phones, and that was still super rare. Most people that needed to be reached anytime 20 years ago would have still had pagers. It's most shocking when watching TV. There are a number of shows, Psyche, Community, Parks and Recreation, The Office, 30 Rock, etc., that first premiered in 2007 to 2009 and aired through 2014 to 2016. Cell phones went from clamshell flip phones only usable for calls and texting to pocket computers, and you could see the progression episode to episode. Compare that to the 90s and early 2000s when cell phones were basically non-existent in TV plots. I do kind of like that some movies / shows are intentionally setting themselves in the pre-2000s / pre-90s so they can avoid cell phones in their stories. It gives more reason to make more period pieces set at different points in history. That his retirement Beanie Babies aren't worth as much as he expected. My mom passed away a couple years ago. The major part of my inheritance was Beanie Babies. This is going to be People and Pops in 20 years. NY, Twin Towers. The first attack on the towers happened in 1993. So, the fact that the towers could be a target wouldn't really come as a surprise. It's what happened afterwards that really would be shocking. The forced decision to go to war in Iraq, the insane amount of propaganda directed towards Americans, and the horrific abuse of sincere patriotism in America and other countries for the sake of, what? Money. The world didn't end in 2012, and yes, we're all disappointed. It was a typing error, meant to be 2021. Donald Trump did what? They made a bunch of Marvel movies. And they were good. They made more Star Wars movies. And they don't have Jar Jar Binks in them. What do you mean? I can have a phone that fits in my pocket and doesn't have buttons. You lost another space shuttle and retired the rest. What's a COVID? And why is everyone wearing masks and staying indoors? What do you mean? The Twin Towers are gone. So, a lot of celebrities have died. I'm not crying, you're crying, huh? Tom Brady turned out to be pretty good. The Browns still suck, though. Holy F, these video games look awesome. The Cubs finally won the World Series. Go Cubs, go. What's a meme? What's a Facebook? What's a Twitter? And why is everyone's spelling still so garbage? What's a GIF? And does it have anything to do with the peanut butter? Bill Cosby did what? Jared Fogle did what? Don't forget, Cubs won the World Series. I did forget about that. Oops. How cheap, and how big TVs have gotten. Back in 2000, I spent $300 on a 27 inches RCA TV, which was a cheap brand at the time. Comparable 27 inches TVs from Sony were $700 to $800. I remember seeing my first plasma TV in either 2000 or 2001. It was a 50 inches, 720p, and it cost like $8,000. Now you can go to the store, get an entry-level 50 inches 4K smart TV for like $200. High-end TVs are $1,500 to $2,500 for a 65 inches. It's insane how cheap they've gotten. Then tell me, future boy, who's President of the United States in 2020? Donald Trump? The businessman? Oh, that guy from Home Alone 2. Probably the Orwellian level of surveillance and how most people seem cool with it. I don't even think Orwell could have predicted we would all carry tiny computers with cameras on the back and front watching and listening to us at all times. People thought I was crazy for putting tape over my computer camera. Then I showed them a video of them masturbating to tentacle porn. That the British monarchy still has the same head. No flying cars or time machines frown. Even worse, no flying time machines. Cultural attitudes towards the LGBT community. Americans even more fatter than in 2000. That people can make money playing video games now. You could do it in the 90s as well, but it definitely wasn't anywhere near the level it is now. The fact that they were frozen and survived. Personally, I'd be shocked I still listen to Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance. See Mom, it wasn't just a phase.